Awesome, DeeDee. Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Please include your name, occupation, and anything else you think would benefit us.
Absolutely. My name is DeeDee LeMier, and I am part of the University of Minnesota Extension team. I serve as an extension educator with community economics and tourism development. I got connected with 100 Rural Women through Teresa, and we actually met at um, this amazing event that was hosted by Blandon, really seeking to connect a variety of women from across rural Minnesota. And I was really struck by her vision and the way that she really centered the strength of rural communities and especially of women in rural communities in her vision for what the organization could be. Outside of work, I live in the Park Rapids area. I'm originally from this part of the state. I usually just tell people Southern Canada because it's way far north. Um, and while I've lived all over the state, I recently moved back to the area that I'm from, and I'm really glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, DeeDee. Can you tell us a little bit about your connection to rural America?
Absolutely. So, my family on both sides have been in northern Minnesota for about 100 years. And, we directly benefited from some of the land treaties and things that opened up additional land in northern Minnesota to white settlers and pushed out the Anishinaabe people in that area. And there were a lot of connections there around logging, farming, and those connections really, you know, are very much still there. Much of my family lives in that area. I have joked for years, though, that my family sort of created, um, just inadvertently made me sort of an on the fence sort of person. When my older brother was born, dads weren't allowed in the delivery room at the Bemidji Hospital. And so then when I was expected, my parents went down to the Twin Cities, and I was actually born in Minneapolis in order to access the kind of healthcare that they were looking for. So I always lived in the same home, but even from my very birth had that sort of dynamic of both sort of the urban and some of that rural piece, and I feel like that has colored my life from day one. Um, I went to the same school, kindergarten through 12th grade, and my family still lives in the same area. But I had wanted to try something a little different and went to college in St. Paul. And then my career has really been colored by moving back and forth between rural and urban spaces. And if I was living in an urban space, I was thinking about and serving folks in rural spaces. So it's taken me a little while, but I've really come to embrace that dynamic.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So, when you reflect back, can you tell me if you could give advice to your former self? So, looking back at who you used to be and who you are, what would that advice be and then why?
I think I would credit this a lot to women like Teresa. Um, but I think the biggest piece is that I'm not alone in really loving rural spaces and loving rural communities, and also seeking to want them to be more inclusive of the variety of people that live in rural spaces, and to be more open to learning a full range of our history and like how we came to be in this place and in this time. Um, and maybe it's because of social media or some other, um, generational shifts or things like that. But it's just been in the last few years that I feel like I've really been able to connect with the wide range of people that are thinking about these things across rural spaces. I've been able to participate in a variety of conferences and professional development things, as well as more personal growth and entertainment and those kinds of connections. Um, and time again, I'm just so amazed at the range of life experiences, the richness of skills and insight that women from rural spaces are able to bring to their communities. And I really wish that I had known that I wasn't alone for wanting to have those kinds of conversations in rural spaces.